What I've learned in nearly 3 decades of ownership and entrepreneurship is that trying to scale without a real team will lead you to failure. I tried it, I did it. I scaled and failed. I scaled and had a team and didn't build the right team and learned a lot of lessons along the way. So, this episode, I want to talk about how you can scale and build a high performance team so that you can actually get the job done. And by that, I mean real team intentionally, people who are your money generators, people who solve problems, people who use process, people who solve whatever the customer is looking for and takes a lot off your plate. Because some of you, you have helpers. Helpers are not real teammates. It could be an admin or a VA, but that's not really what it takes to grow and scale a company. So today I want to talk about it. Let's just get right into it. But first, ask yourself 2 questions. Did I build a business that is solely reliant on my skills and talent? And how do I get myself out of this so that I can grow and scale a profitable company without stressing myself out?
Welcome back to another episode of Mogul Chicks Chat. I'm your host, Adrienne Graham. I'm the CEO and proud founder of Mogul Chicks, and that's Chicks with an X. I am a serial entrepreneur and a self-made businesswoman who is a strategic business growth advisor, talent management strategist, published author, mentor, investor, and podcast host. Mogul Chicks helps female founders grow and scale profitable, job creating companies and eventually get them investment ready. We also help groom them into dynamic leaders and CEOs and build legacy wealth in the process. Mogul Chicks is a mindset, a way of life, if you will, and a blueprint for female founders who want to build a legacy of wealth and a generational business empire. We provide strategic business growth solutions and a platform for resources, mentoring, networks, education, and media that shares our stories. Our mission is to take your company from flat to profit generating to job creating to investment ready. My personal mission is to help you build and run a better company, reimagine the way you do business, and build lasting wealth. Oh, and before I forget, make sure you tag Mogul Chicks using the hashtag Mogul Chicks Chat on social media. Make sure you rate the show and leave a comment. It helps people find us. Share the love, share the love.
Okay, let's get into it. We are talking about running real companies with real structure, real leadership, and real results. Today, we're going to talk about one of the biggest barriers to growth for women entrepreneurs. That's trying to scale without a real team. I keep having this conversation with people and they're not listening to me. So let's see if this will work on the podcast today. So let me start with the blunt truth. No matter what anyone tells you, you cannot scale the business you want while being the only one who answers every question, solves every problem, approves every detail, handles every client, manages every project, or runs every operation within the business. That's not scaling, ladies. That's trying to show everybody, hey, I can do it all myself. Well, guess what? I learned from experience that no, you cannot do it all yourself. And a lot of founders are exhausted because they've equated working hard and putting in the time and doing the struggle and all that other stuff with being in control. And you're not in control. So let me free you right now. Your power is not in doing everything. Your power really is in leading the people who do everything. Let me say that again. Your power is in leading the people who do everything on your behalf. True CEOs build capacity through teams, not through personal sacrifice. We need to let go of that myth because, ladies, I ended up in the hospital and worse, and you guys are going to drive yourselves in the same direction. So let's talk about it. A lot of people give pushback and say, well, I can't hire because teams don't work, or I don't have time to train, or they just don't get it in time. So let's talk about it. Why do most of the teams not work? So We know you all struggle. Some of you struggle with building your teams. It's not because people can't, be found. It's not that good people don't exist. It's not that nobody wants to work, even though people love saying that. It's not that hiring is impossible or the market is broken. It's because the approach is broken. So let me share with you some of the top reasons why teams fail. And get your pen and pad ready because you might be going through some of this. So you need to pay attention. Reason number 1, you hire reactively, not strategically. See, some of you wait until you're overwhelmed and then you hire whoever is available. That's not how you get helpers. Those are not high performers. That is trying to fill a void and not trying to strategically put in someone who can help you grow and advance the business. Number 2, you don't define outcomes. How many times have you hired people and said, I have a ton of work for you. Let me just sit down and start transferring everything over to you. That's not how you do that because you set them up for failure. You tell people what to do, but you don't outline what success looks like for them or what the task is supposed to look like when it's completed. High performers need outcomes. They don't need task lists. Reason number 3, you don't give ownership. Now, I'm going to pause here because I want you to think about that for a second. How many times have you said, it's easier to just do it myself? I've been there. I know that. It does not work. If you never release control of anything, your team can't never rise. Micromanagement is a profit killer. And trust me, nobody likes to be micromanaged. Do you like to be micromanaged? I don't think you do. Reason number 4. You skip the onboarding part. Look, when you hire people, you can't just throw them in the lion's den. Some of you are hiring people and then throwing them right into the fire and making it so that, hey, you either sink or swim. Then you're shocked when they burn out or they disappear on you or ghost you. That's not how to prepare your team. You have to sit them down and position them to be successful. You have to make sure you articulate what their expected outcomes are. Reason number 5. You don't enforce accountability. You tolerate poor performance because you want to avoid the conflict or because Sarah is Jennifer's best friend's mom and you don't want to feel guilty. You can't do that. You cannot do that. You have to set a standard for people from the day they walk in the door. Actually, I'm lying. From the time you interview them, you have to set a standard. There are no friends in business. And I know everybody talks about, heart-centered this or heart-centered that. That does not generate profits. And that does not build a team that is loyal to you. That builds an environment where people can take advantage because they play on your emotions. These are not people problems, okay? These are leadership design problems. But I have some good news for you. You can fix every single one of these issues. And I'm about to tell you how. So let me share with you the 5 elements of a high performance team. If you want to build a team that helps you scale, these are the 5 elements that must be present. So get a pen and pad. If you don't already have one, you should have one. And let's break them down. So element number 1, role clarity. I can't stress this one enough. Everyone on your team should know their respective responsibilities, their authority that you give them, their deliverables, decision boundaries, and their metrics. They need to have all of these things because confusion can be expensive if they don't know what they're doing. You can mess around and have somebody make decisions on your behalf that they're not authorized to, and then you're stuck with a bill. Or they can make a decision on a course of action that makes your clients furious, and then you're left to pick up the pieces. So remember that clarity is profitability. And if you're very clear and specific with what their roles entail and what authority limits they have, you lessen the chance of anything going wrong. Element number 2, ownership and autonomy. Those are big for me because when I hire someone to take care of a task, I don't want to have to follow up with them and I don't want to have to go behind them to fix it. High performers don't want to be babysat. They want responsibility. And you want to give them responsibility because it takes it off of your plate. So your team should solve problems, make decisions, create improvements, and manage themselves. Those are the hallmarks of a great team and a high performing team, Autonomy creates leaders, and micromanagement, well, that creates turnovers. Element number 3, Systems and processes. Now, I know you guys have seen all over social media. You got these systems and process experts that are out there. But let me tell you what it's really about. If everything lives in your head, your team is going to fail. A real team needs SOPs, standard operating procedures, if you don't know what that is. And if you don't know what that is, then you need to probably talk to someone. Workflows, templates, communication rules, and structure. Let me talk about communication rules for a moment. You have to be able to delegate the communication part of it, but you have to make sure that your employee knows exactly how to handle every single situation that they would encounter, whether it's internally or with a customer. So make sure that you have clear communication rules when you're dealing with them. Systems reduce friction and they reduce problems and missteps. Structure increases the speed. You can't have one without the other. Element number 4, performance management. That's one of my favorite. This is the part most founders avoid. They hire people and say, okay, here, and they throw something on their plate that they don't want to deal with anymore, and they let them have at it. You can't do that. A high-performing team requires expectations, feedback, accountability, and coaching. You cannot leave this up to chance. They have to be able to understand what it is that they do. You do that through reviews and, I'm sorry to say, but consequences. Not micromanagement, but management should be the key. Your team should know what great looks like, and you define that. So if they don't understand your boundaries or they don't understand your expectations, they can't possibly meet them. And then finally, element number 5, cultural alignment. Skills matter, but alignment matters more. You have to build a team where it's a cohesive. They may not all have the same views or the same backgrounds or whatever, but when it comes to delivering for the company, they should all be in alignment. High-performing teams share the same values, the same work ethic, the same standards, and the same communication rhythms. No, I didn't say that they all look alike or act alike or, whatever. They should have a culture that's not a vibe, but it's behavior. And culture determines excellence within the company. And it determines if someone wants to hang around and work for you. So the first 5 roles a scaling founder needs is the next thing I want to talk about. Because a lot of you jump in there, I got to get a VA. I need a VA. No, that is not your first hire. I'm going to get into that a little later in another episode. But listen, you need to have people who actually do the work before you can get the support roles filled. So these are what I'm going to recommend to you. If you're ready to build a real team, here's the first 5 roles that most scaling companies need. First one, an operations person. This person is going to run the day-to-day and manage all the moving parts within the company. Client delivery or service. That is a person or people who own fulfillment and ensure client quality. Now, remember, if you've heard me on other episodes say you have to eventually hire to replace yourself, that's the first step in the process, hiring people to deliver what you deliver. Sales support or sales rep. This is to increase demand and close business consistently. So your sales support needs to be turning over new clients and bringing in new clients every single week. Marketing support. Now, people argue about marketing support, but I think that marketing support is helpful. I mean, yeah, of course, as the owner, you're going to get out there and promote your own business, and hopefully your employees will too. But you need somebody to maintain visibility, content, and brand consistency. And the final person, I always tell people it's not an assistant. You need somebody to get in there to handle the money piece. Yep, your financial person, whether it's a CFO or accountant or a bookkeeper, you need somebody that is going to handle the money piece of your business. These are not luxuries. These are foundational roles that buy back your time and multiply your revenue. So why would you not want to do all of that? An assistant is somebody that you do need to protect your time and remove administrative weight as well, but they're not critical. Remember, support is not the same as someone who actually comes in there and are part of your money-making team. Now let's move into the mindset shift that needs to happen in order to lead a real team. Let me move into kind of a motivational person here. You guys know I don't do that often. I like to do, the strictly the facts. But a high performance team requires a high performance CEO. That means releasing control, trusting your people, delegating outcomes, letting others shine. You don't always have to be in the spotlight. Setting boundaries, giving clear feedback, holding high expectations, and embracing leadership discomfort. Because let me tell you, it is not a cakewalk. It is not easy peasy when you are the leader. Everything rolls back up to you. Your team will only expand when you expand your capacity. The CEO who refuses to trust people will always limit her growth. The CEO who clings to control will always stay overwhelmed. And the CEO who avoids conflict will always accept mediocrity. You know you deserve better. Your company deserves better. Your future deserves better. But you have to step out of your own way. You have to be accommodating and make sure that you can play nice, I guess, if you want to say it. You have to allow yourself to not be the star of the show. I know I've said that a million times on social media and even on other podcasts. We have this innate ability to make everything about ourselves. Look at my skills. Look at this degree I got. Look at this license. Look at this certification. Look at the success that I've had. That's fine if you want to be a one-woman show, but if you are trying to build a company is never about the owner or the founder. A company is about a collective that comes together to make sure that they are solving their clients' problems together. The purpose of this episode was to break down the truth about scaling. You can't do it by yourself. You shouldn't want to do it by yourself. I explained why most founders struggle with team building and what high performance teams actually look like, and the 5 elements that allow your team to run confidently without depending on you. So if you got nothing from this, I urge you to listen to this episode again. You cannot scale alone. You should not scale alone. And you were never meant to scale alone. If you want to build a business that grows without draining you, your team is the key. A high performance team is not a dream, honey. It's not luck. It's not magic. It's design. It's leadership. It's structure. And it's the ability to let go. You have to get comfortable with letting go and trusting the professional. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But take some time to think about what I talked about today and decide, are you ready to build your own team?
I'm Adrienne Graham, CEO and founder of Mogul Chicks, and this has been another Mogul Chicks Chat. I want to help you build a better, more profitable company. Make sure you check out the other episodes, and if you like what you hear, share the love. Pass the link on to your friends. You can find this podcast wherever podcasts are streamed, and of course on the Mogul Chicks website. Make sure you subscribe, and if you do, leave a comment on any or all of the channels. It helps other people find the podcast too. Sharing is caring. For more information about how we work with you to grow and scale your company, visit us online at mogulchicks.com, send an email to contact@mogulchicks.com, or you can connect with us all over social media at Mogul Chicks. And remember, that's Mogul Chicks with an X. If you're not yet part of the Mogul Circle, if you're doing over $1 million in revenue annually, what are you waiting for? There's so much value in memberships and the community. If you prefer a good program or trying to move beyond startup phase, check out the Mogul Chicks Academy at mogulchicksacademy.com. I'll catch you on the next episode. And remember, Mogul Chicks are always a step ahead of the crowd, and they're always closing deals. Mogul Chicks make mogul moves and power plays. Your move. Now go be profitable. Bye.